Hey everybody, it's Tim at Broken Dice, bringing a quick little update on my solo wargaming campaign of Rome and Iberia. I did a last video where I talked about my methodology and what I was going to do and the diplomatic ratings and all that kind of stuff. And I had a friend of mine who listened to it and he said, I didn't make it very clear. So for those of you that listen to that video, I apologize. I thought, well, maybe a demonstration of what I'm actually talking about would make this so much easier. So, as far as diplomatic rating goes, as you can see here on this map, and obviously I said again, I did not make up this map. This was just taken off the internet. I was just looking for maps of Iberia, and this one popped up, and I thought, oh my gosh, it's got all the tribal names and all that kind of stuff on there, so it'd be perfect. So I've borrowed it, as let's say, and so as you can tell that this area up here, this is where the last phase took place, and Rome has really done a stellar job in taking control of all this. So now, as I mentioned in my last video, we're going to head south with the Romans. This is their target. Now, as I said it before, at the beginning of the campaign last year, I did diplomatic ratings for all the tribes, and they're set for the entire campaign. And the reason I did this east coast of the peninsula, the Mediterranean side, is because that's where I think Rome would have first invaded the peninsula. And so I did all those early on. So as we progress and get further and further into the continent, into the peninsula, let's say, that I need to do the next contacted tribes diplomatic rating. So, with the Editani having a diplomatic rating of 3, I need the roll for the Romans diplomatic rating for this phase of season 2. And so I brought a little container here to roll the dice in, and I normally roll a die 6. Okay, well, that's not very good for the Romans. That's a diplomatic rating of 2. So I need to write that down. Okay, so now the Romans in this part that I call the treachery, bribery, and coercion phase, this is where they want to keep the Editani from trying to get aid from their surrounding tribes. And the way I do this is that this is the target of the assault. Can't use these because these guys have been subdued already. So the Celtiberi, the Contestani, and Bastitani tribes. So we got 1, 2, 3 possible sources of aid, but also 3 possible sources for the Romans to roll and deprive the Editani of aid. So that's what we got to do first, to see if Rome has, through some underhanded ploy, deprived the Editani of the ability to get aid. So what I do is I'm going to roll a die 12, because if I roll a die 6, and let's just say Rome had a really high diplomatic rating, let's say of 6, and like you can see, the Celtiberi have a diplomacy rating of 1. Well, that means that they would never, that the Romans would always prevent them from sending aid to someone. So I didn't think that was very fair. So I've decided to use a die 12. At least we have a larger range, and it just seems more fair throughout. Because you just automatically take people out of the game that way. So let's roll. So Rome is going to add 2. The Celtiberi are going to add 1. The red dice obviously are for the Romans. The gray dice for the Iberians. So let's put this here, and we roll. All right, the Romans add 8, and the Celtiberians only add 2. So for this phase, for this next series of battles, the Celtiberians are not going to take any part, so they can send no aid to the Editani. This is bad for the Editani, because Celtiberian forces helping you out is always a good thing. So I need to write that down. Okay. All right, so put this up. And now we need to go down to the Bassetani. Now they have a diplomatic rating of 4, and the Romans have a diplomatic rating of 2. So the advantage should be for the Editani here. All right. So I roll, and well, put that right here. The Iberians roll a 10. The Romans roll a 4. So the Romans were unsuccessful in thwarting the Editani's diplomatic overtures towards the Bassetani. So now what we need to do is we need to figure out how much aid the Bassetani can send to the Editani. So let's roll a dice here, and we'll add it. Now, normally it's a die 6 roll. I'm going to just have a red dice here. And so I'm going to roll this dice, and I'm going to add this to the total for the Editani. Then I'm going to do the same thing for the Bassetani. Now, if the Bassetani roll higher, then they're going to sit this one out. They're not going to send any aid because they're just not sure whether this is a good thing for them to do, is to aid an enemy of Rome. They've seen what happened to other tribes, and that's how they see things. It's like, maybe we shouldn't. So let's roll the dice, and let's see. So this first dice roll is for the Editani. They are a diplomatic rating of 3. We add die 6, so it's 5. Wow, that's not good. And that is not good because the diplomatic rating for the Bassetani is 4. So at best, the Editani can receive 1 unit from them if it's a tie, if the Bassetani roll a 1. So we need to roll that dice, and I rolled a 6. So no aid coming from the Bassetani. This is not looking good for the Editani. So their last hope here is the Contestitani. And the Contestitani have a diplomatic rating of 4 as well. And so we roll, this is for the Editani. Okay, so that's a good roll. That's 10. So they roll a 10, and now we do the Constantini, and we add their diplomatic rating of 4. Oh, no, actually, that would be 9 for the Editani, because they're a 3. Oh, it's a tie. It's a tie. So with the Bassetani having a diplomatic rating of 4, they roll a 5, so that's 9. So it's a tie. So the Editani can receive just 1 unit of aid. Now, that's a big deal. That is a big deal. 1 unit. Okay. Alrighty. Well, that takes care of our little diplomatic rolling here for the campaign part of phase 2. Testani. Okay. So we got that done. All right. Well, that didn't turn out well for my guys. So, well, I will only get 1 unit of aid, which will come on a random board edge at some point in time. Or I can actually add it to a division at the start of the game if I really want to do that. Plus, if you've been following along with this season is all about problem solving. So I'm always placing myself at a disadvantage, either through numbers or through situation or goals to be achieved during the game, that sort of thing. So this is going to really put me in a bind. So I will have a few other units to help me solve the problem, because I will probably be outmanned and outgunned, as it were, with the Romans. So we shall see. We shall see. But I hope this clears up the process of the diplomatic rating in my solo wargaming campaign. It's not really that complicated. I don't think my explanation in the last video was very good, as it was pointed out to me. So that's this video. If you're into that solo wargaming or just wargaming in general, because you could do this. This whole thing can be done with two people or more, figuring out what's going on. You could run it as a cooperative, or a competitive sort of confrontational, let's say, sort of wargaming campaign. It just adds a little flavor. Well, that's it for this video. I don't want to drag this on too long. So if you like this kind of stuff, thumbs up, share, all that kind of crazy YouTube-ish stuff. Everybody stay safe, stay well, and I'll see you next time.